Hi, this is the next tutorial, and this will demonstrate to us how we can create groups, especially if we want to have group assignments or group discussions among our students. So we can be able, like many of us as faculty members, we are able to do that within our class settings, a physical class. We are able to distribute our students into various groups, and then we make them do various discussions or group assignments. And I want to demonstrate how that can actually be done within the digital campus. So for us to get into creating groups, I'll have to go to people, and the people section, if you remember in our previous tutorial, was actually to display for us who our students are in a particular class. So right now I'm actually with this number of students. So what I'm going to do is I can display again the number of students I have at 20 for now, but these are all demo students. For me to be able to create the groups, the first thing I need to do is click on Add Group Set. On the top right corner, there'll be an Add Group Set button, which now you have to give a name for the group set. And for example, you want to say Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, so on. Or maybe if it's a discussion, you can call it discussion for the name of the group set. You can allow the students to self-sign up, which I would not recommend, especially if you have very big classes. So in such a case, you can allow the digital campus to create the groups for you automatically. And for example, I want to create 6 groups. So I can increment this particular button to display 6 groups, or you can also create the groups yourself manually. But on this particular point, it's also important to know that if you have students or classes of more than 50 students or 100 students, it makes it very difficult for you as a lecturer. So I would rather you allow the system to do that for you. You just need to know how many groups you want, and the system will do that for you. Then the leadership, it's also important that you tell us how you want the leadership to be. So automatically assign a group leader. So there are 2 options in which the system will allow the leader to be chosen. First of all, it can pick up the first student it randomly picks, or it can just pick a student out of the group. If there are 4 students in a group, it just picks 1. So I'll just select set a random student as group leader, and from here click on the save button. Now I would like you to notice the way the system randomly is picking students, and you'll get to see that being created. The students are located into the 6 groups. Now notice the group set name that I came up with, a number is allocated to each one of them. So remember, I called the group set discussion, so you'll notice that it picked the name as discussion 1 all the way to discussion 6. And because I had 20 students, and of course for the system to automatically allocate these 20 students to 6 groups, you'll notice that 4 groups have 3 students each, and 2 groups have 4 students each, which we normally also allow in a normal class setting. For us to be able to get into the membership of each of the groups, I can come over here, and I'd like, before I get into the group, notice the group leader for each of the groups have been selected. So now to get to know the membership of each of the groups, I'll hover my mouse pointer over discussion 1 or the name of the first group, and when I click on it, it actually displays for me the rest of the members of that group. So I can click on discussion 2 and I can get to see who my students are, and so on up to the 6th group. Now I'd like to at this point also mention that what happens within the groups is that Canvas, or the digital campus, creates an environment for the members within a group to be able to collaborate amongst themselves within Canvas. Can have calendars, can be able to have announcements, discussions, files. So how do I know that actually happens? So if I come to the right side of a particular group name, you will notice there's a settings tool. You'll click on that, and this will allow me to visit the group homepage. And notice what happens is that I am actually in the group homepage and the environment has been created. And notice this is what even the student will get to see on their side. They will have a section where they will have home, announcements, pages, people, discussions, files, and conferences. So if, for example, there's an assignment that has been given to the students, what they can do is they can come to the discussions and have discussions on a particular topic, just the way we have talked about discussions in our previous tutorials. They can also upload files so that it's visible for the rest of the members. When a particular topic is being discussed, members can be able to upload what they have actually browsed and got searched for, and so that they have a list of files where they're going to maybe even reference from. They can also make announcements for each other, and also web conferences. So they can also hold conferences. It's also important, once a student is within a group, let me just click on people, you'll get to see the members of the group, and myself here as a lecturer and my colleague also, we are the teachers of that particular course. So we will actually be part of this group, because in such a case, as a lecturer, you can be able to come and moderate get to see what the students are doing. And the beauty about this is you can even get to notice who are the active students or the passive students, because in the discussions you'll get to see what they're discussing, who is talking, who's making the announcements, who's uploading the files. And at such a point, if you get to notice one of the members is not actively involved in any of the activities of the group, you can actually post an announcement as a lecturer and ask that particular student, why is it that you're not active in the group? And they can be able to give you 1, 2, 3 reasons. And of course, as a university, we know we have students who are in extremely remote places, students who might not be having daily internet access. In such cases, you also have to be cognizant of that and allow such students also to be able to provide their input into any group assignment or any group discussion when they have that internet connectivity. But of course, you need to also engage them, get to understand what their issues are, so that we don't just have very passive members within a group. So that's how the group is actually created within the digital campus. And for you as the lecturer, you can be able to keep checking what they are doing. So you can, I can click back on discussions, discussion 1, and it can take me back to the course menu. So I'll click on that at the top there and go back to people and get to notice that now I have a group discussion or a group called discussion, and I can do the same thing for each of the groups. So getting to actually monitor what each of the groups are doing. This is actually one of the very powerful tools provided by the digital campus for you and me as faculty members to be able to have all students engage in various activities of the course. And just to demonstrate one particular item, like an activity is maybe a group discussion. So I'll click on discussions here, and maybe I have a discussion I want to talk about. So I'll click on discussion, and this brings me to the index page of the discussions. I can add a discussion, and since maybe this is a demo course on research methods, I'll talk about research designs. So maybe the topic of that particular discussion is research designs. Then you can ask the student, give you input on various research designs. So at this point, because it's a discussion, you can allow for users to post their comments before seeing this. You can even make it graded. Then from here, allow, of course, even allow threaded replies. So definitely you'll have replies based on a particular discussion item. Now, very importantly, because you want to allocate this to a particular group, you select this is a group discussion. Then you have to choose the group set that you have created. Now you can create multiple group sets. We just created a group set called discussion. For maybe a fast discussion, you can create another group set for, let's say, an assignment, etc. So at this point, I'll have to select which group set. And at this point, you'll get to see discussion, the one that we just created. And maybe give it a number of points, let's say 5 points. And because it's part of the what has to be assessed for the student, it has to be in the assignments group. Then from here, we don't want them to peer review their work. You want to be the one to do so. So at this point, you can click the due date. Let's say the 15th. And maybe the availability, that is okay. And then from there, the assign to, you can decide you don't want to assign to anybody, to everyone. Instead, you want to assign now to each of the discussion groups. So I'll get all the discussions group listed. So I can select all of them. Fine, so I have picked the 6 discussion groups. And once I'm happy with that, then I scroll down and click on Save and Publish. And we can click on Continue. So from here, what happens is that this group discussion will actually be availed for each of the students. So I can just briefly, if I'm going to grade the students, I can click on Grades. You'll notice, okay, there are so many activities I've done over here. So let me just check whether I actually published it. Okay, so I can click on it over here. Yeah, now from here I can be able to actually even from here just click on the group, and you'll notice that you'll actually open the group that I have just selected, and notice it's discussion 1, and under the discussions I am supposed to give my input on the same. So going back, I can actually pick into each of the other groups. I'll click on the course code over here, and again go back to people. I'll just pick a group randomly just to show, just for demonstration purposes, like I'll select group discussion 5 group, and visit the home page. And if you click on discussions, you'll notice that I have posted that particular research designs discussion for the students. So that will be graded also, because it's been, we had put 5 points for it, and so you'll actually get to see that. So once I'm done with that, then I can click on the name of the discussion group and or the group name, and click again on the course code at the top of the course, and I'm back to my home page. So that is how we create groups, how we create or allocate work to each of the groups that we have just created, and you're able to assess or moderate what they are actually doing. So if you have any further queries, please don't hesitate to reach the Center for Virtual Learning team for further support. Thank you.